So walk us through this. You started as an employee, just like many of the people listening are. And
Mhm,
then you were able to take the jump and the leap into forming your own business and then later businesses.
mhm.
Michelle, this is a common question then. Where did you get the funding to start your first business after you walked away from the 9 to 5?
So when I started, I used savings. So that's where I first started. So when I decided to stop, I didn't start the business right away. I started living off of savings. We applied for benefits and used government benefits to live off while I was using my savings. And then United Way had a self-sufficiency program. Since I was not earning anything at the time, per se, I qualify as low income. And they had a program where you could save $10 a week for 2 years and they will match it. And you could use that money after 2 years to either buy a home, go back to school, or start a business. And so I chose the third option and started a business. And that money then served to get more credential for the business and actually paid for my physical office for a full year. And that's actually how we launched. I launched the business in 2016. And and yeah, that's honestly that's how we started.
Show, please break that down. And so our subscribers and people who stumble upon this audio and this video understand what you're saying because the numbers were not that big. $10 a month, which they matched. So we're talking,
$10 a week. So for a month
oh,
it'll be
okay, so it's much
$40.
bigger. So $520 for the whole year, and they matched that. So it was over $1,000 at the end.
So if we're saving, yes, I'm not good at math. So if I was saving $10 a week, so it'd be $40 a month, right? Yeah. So they're matching that.
That's
But if you think about it, $10 a week, that's 2 cups of coffee for, people are going to Starbucks maybe, or maybe even probably just 1 cup, Starbucks is not that cheap to begin with, right? Um, so it was a trade-off that was worthwhile. Right. And yeah, and that was a program for United Way. It was a self-sufficiency program. That's how they called it. And so maybe something to look into, in your community. And if I live in Pennsylvania, and maybe you have them that depending on where you're located, trying to look into it. Contact the United Way. If you live in the US, every state here has a United Way. Look into, ask them if they have that in your area. Um, Something similar.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. And how many years did you save before you started the
It was
business?
two.
2 years.
Two. Yes. Yeah.
So essentially, you ended up with about more than $2,000 at the end of this, and that is
So
what paid your rent.
so when I started, I think altogether the grant money that I got was 5,000. Um,
Wow.
and then so I paid for the rent, and my I had a shared office within was the building, and I had an office, for myself, but it was in a shared building, and it was really cheap. I'm trying to think, it was like, I want to say 250, maybe 300 a month. And then so the cover for the whole year, my no, so the first year rent was covered, and then the additional money I think I paid for a certification that I wanted, just to get more credential, for what I was doing. And that, for me, I like, okay, I was set. But even during that time, so it was, I had the funding, but during that time then I was working on other things. So it was mentorship, connecting with SCORE, which, score.org, you can go and get, free business mentoring that way, where people who have businesses and have been, been doing this for a while, and, been starting the structure and getting more education, getting more training, registering your business and things like that. So I was working on the foundational things. And so that when I got the space, I was ready to go, work on the marketing and website and all things like that. So I wasn't just not doing anything for 2 years, if that makes sense. So I was working on the business in the background while I was also, working on the funding.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just like you were staying at home taking care of the family and just twiddling your thumbs. You were actually setting up the most required fundamentals of having a business.
There
Set
you go.
that up as well. So when you were ready with the money after the 2 years, you were ready to go because you were working
Mhm.
during the 2 years on the other stuff to launch you.
Right, right. And networking is also big. So during those 2 years, I'm attending, a lot of networking events in, in the area, where it's, small businesses, events in the area, chamber of commerce and things like that. So I'm getting to meet people are getting to meet me, and what, to hear about what I'm trying to do or wanting to do, right? So when I'm launching the business, people really can on you of me, and that helps. So yeah, because 5,000 is not a lot of money. Let's be real, right? So people, you might, for whatever you're doing, you might need more money than I needed, but for me, that was enough to start. So I needed the space per se, and nowadays maybe you don't even need the space. I do most of my work, honestly, 90% of it virtually nowadays. So maybe you don't even need the brick and mortar space. But people need to know that you exist, so they know to buy from you or whatever services or products. So getting the word out there is more important than even the brick and mortar, space nowadays.